What was your first night in jail like? I never thought I'd be the kid in handcuffs. I was 19, worked at a hardware store, got decent grades, nothing crazy, but there I was, sitting in the back of a police car because my friend Trevor told me his cousin needed his car moved. Simple favor, right? Wrong. 2 hours later, I'm getting arrested for driving a stolen vehicle outside a grocery store. I kept telling the cops it wasn't my car, but the plates were flagged and I had zero paperwork. They said I'd be in holding overnight. I tried calling my mom, my sister, even Trevor. Nobody answered. This was before everyone had smartphones, so I was stuck. The deputy walked me to the holding cell and stopped at the door. He looked at his paperwork and shook his head. "You're not gonna believe this," he said, unlocking the door. Sitting on the concrete bench was my dad. My dad who I hadn't spoken to in 4 years. My dad who went to prison when I was 14 for assault. My dad who promised he'd change about 100 times before I finally stopped believing him. There he was, same faded tattoos on his arms, grayer hair, but that unmistakable voice. Well, 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 look who finally made it to the family reunion. At first I thought someone was pranking me, like maybe I hit my head getting arrested and this was some weird dream. My dad started laughing like seeing me there was the funniest thing in the world. "Didn't think you had it in you, kid. What you in for?" I wanted to punch him. Instead, I told him the whole story. How Trevor said it was his cousin's car. How I was just trying to help a friend. How I'd never even gotten a speeding ticket before this. My dad nodded along, then dropped a bomb on me. "Yeah, that Trevor kid. I knew his uncle back in the day. Same type of scam. You're the fall guy, son. Kid probably reported it stolen himself after you got caught." The cell went quiet except for some drunk guy snoring in the corner. Then my dad did something he'd never done before. He gave me actual advice. Not the usual stay out of trouble lecture. Real advice. He told me exactly what to say in court tomorrow, what not to say, how to handle the hearing, which public defender was worth asking for, and which ones would just phone it in. "I'm not proud of how I know all this stuff," he said, staring at the floor, "but you might as well benefit from my mistakes." We sat there for hours talking, really talking, for the first time since I was a little kid. He told me about the fights he'd been in, the guys he'd met inside, how hard it was to find work with a record, how he thought about calling me every week but never knew what to say. I told him about school, work, how mom was doing, stupid stuff like my boss who always smelled like onions. It was weird having a normal conversation with him. The next morning they called my name for processing. As the guard led me out, my dad stood up. "Hey," he shouted across the cell, "don't come back in here again. You're not like me, kid. Don't let one stupid mistake turn you into me." His voice cracked a little on the last part. I got a public defender who actually listened, followed my dad's advice word for word. Turns out Trevor had borrowed the car from his cousin without asking, then panicked when his cousin reported it missing. The charges got dropped to a misdemeanor, community service and probation. I never saw the inside of a cell again.